Next, we'll be looking at the area of Cameroon, and we'll be looking at some of the objects from this area and some of the architecture. So the first thing I'm showing you here are dwellings that are made out of mud, and as we go through the semester, you will see that a lot of the architecture in the northern part of Africa is made out of mud, and it serves this area well because they get very little rain. You'll notice in this picture here that we have this beautiful kind of pattern on the roof, and then in these, this pattern goes all the way to the ground. This is not just for its aesthetic appeal. It also serves that when there is the rainy season, it helps to, make the flow of the rain go in a certain direction, down the roof and then off of the building. It also then, after the rainy season, is used so that it's very easy to climb up here and repair anything that needs to be fixed. And these adobe structures or mud structures would then be fixed after the rainy season each year. This is from the Muscum people that I'm showing you, and the interior of these buildings also were mud, and they would have shelves that were built into the mud, storage units, beds, and then sometimes even like interior division or partition to indicate rooms within the structure. The next thing I'm showing you here is an iron weapon of the people who live south of Lake Chad. And they made this carving blade by forging the metal. And this would be a blacksmith that created this. This is known as a throwing knife. And it can be hurled sideways. And the blacksmiths will come back to this numerous times, but the blacksmiths in the communities across Africa usually had very high status. And the reason is that when you were born into that section of society. So, in other words, if your father was a blacksmith, you were a blacksmith. And this would be passed through the male line. If your father was a blacksmith and you were a female child, then you would learn how to make pottery most often. And so for the blacksmiths who are working in metal, they kept their knowledge of how they were creating these metal objects secret. And so people actually believed that they had this magical power to create these metal objects. You're taking something metal, and somehow you're making it into this in this case, this throwing knife. So because of that, they usually are having a very high status in the society. And throwing knives that vary in forms, they can reflect ethnic affiliation, individual workshops, and intended use, whether it's ceremonial or is actually going to be used for hunting or something. They also can be used to mark the social rank of the original owner. So this is known as an as, and this is used in ceremony. You can understand, it would not be something that would be used as a weapon. And it is what we call anthropomorphic. I have the word here for you. So anthropomorphic means that you're taking an object like an as or an axe, and then you're giving it a human quality to it. So if we have, say, an animal that's shown speaking, like Snoopy, right? Or Garfield the cat or something like that, then they're anthropomorphic because they're taking on the human feature. Or maybe you guys would know better, like Brian from Family Guy, anthropomorphic. That is a word you should know because we're going to see a lot of that in African art. So here we have this anthropomorphic object because it has a human head on it. And it has this hairstyle that's known as a crest. We will see this quite frequently on women across North Africa. And this was used in healing dances that were led by women. And when they're doing the dances, it was believed that they were, inhabited, let's say, by spirits, like overcome with spirits that are making them dance. And for them, this is a very sacred religious practice. So next we're moving on to the Chamba Society, and they're found in the northern part of Nigeria. And this is a helmet mask that's used for a masquerade. So masquerades appear in the societies. Masquerades appear all over Africa, but in the Chamba Society, masquerades appear at public funerals of the elders and royals, as well as during agricultural ceremonies. It thus is used at crucial times of transition in the life of the community. In fact, the masquerade dances when the worlds of the wildness and the worlds of the dead merge with ours. So the masquerade is a way of opening up, in a way, these worlds that, you can commune with your ancestors, the worlds of the dead. Think of it that way. And the helmet mask here would go over your entire head and sit on your shoulders. And then for this case, you would be able to look out of the mouth. So you would put it on and look out of the mouth here. And you notice how there is a hole here. When we see the helmet mask, we'll also often see holes on the bottom here. And they are where either raffia or material has been connected, because the idea is then you're going to cover your entire body, and the person that is dancing the masquerade is transformed into whatever spirit the mask is representing. And that is what is believed. So it's to make that transformation, let's say, believable, they have their entire body covered. Other powerful objects include ceramics, brass figures, musical instruments, and wooden figures. All of these things are kept hidden in a bundle or under a pot. The unseen presence of this sacred material transforms the pot or bundle into an altar, a place of contact between the natural and the spiritual world. And then these would be placed in somebody's home. Now this piece I like quite a bit. We're still looking at the chamba, and this is a carved piece of wood. It's one solid piece of wood that was carved. And if you look closely, there's some interesting things that you'll see. We don't have a date on this. That's why no date. Many of these we don't have dates for. Some things that hopefully you're noticing are that there's no facial features, there's no eyes, there's no distinct facial features that is going to say this is this individual. And that's because when you look at this, you're supposed to be able to say this is just kind of like the symbolic meaning of a woman and the symbolic meaning of a man. So here we have the woman, and we can make her out as the woman from her hairdo, that she has breasts and female genitalia. And the male here, from his hairdo, he doesn't have breasts and he has male genitalia. So it is very distinct, male, female. But now you'll notice if you look down here, the two figures are attached and they each only have one leg. So what does this say? What's the meaning of this? Well, the meaning of this is that they are creating a unit. So think of a marriage. They look at this as the marriage unit of male-female. And if you think about it, if, say, the woman here would try to hop and the male would not hop, all she would do is go around in a circle. But to move forward, they have to work together as a team, one taking a hop and then the other taking a hop, or hopping together. So it's a symbolic way of showing the unity and actually the equality also of the marriage. So this is why I think this is, I just like this like visual representation of marriage, of this unit and this idea of equality. All right, so I'm going to stop here and I'll make another short video to put up later on in the notes.